So the idea that there's an Epstein client list, Epstein kept a laminated list in his wallet that was like, these are people I trafficked children to. It is like a meme more than it is something that we have actual evidence for. My understanding is Epstein didn't keep a list, a client list, but couldn't the FBI figure out a list of co-conspirators using forensics? So that's actually like a reasonable version of what people might mean when they say Epstein list, Epstein client list. We could make one. We could make one ourselves based on the evidence that we have. And so I thought, why don't we do that? Jeffrey Epstein's secret client list. Here's what's up with me. I'm, as you may have noticed if you're watching my channel videos, if not, no worries. That's not mandatory to watch this. I'm a little bit pilled. I got a little bit of Epstein brain. Once you start researching like Jeffrey Epstein, it's like very addicting, right? Like people call this a rabbit hole, you know, like the stereotypical, like, you know, Charlie Day pointing at his big conspiracy board, tying red string to a bulletin board, making all these connections. Like, you know, it's a joke and we laugh about it, but this can easily happen to you if you start getting into conspiracy theories. And the Jeffrey Epstein one has an extra edge to it where it's actually like a lot of this stuff it's not just a theory. Like a lot of this stuff is very confirmable. So it's got a little extra kick to it, you know? It's got a little extra, I don't know, nicotine. It's got something about it is a little bit more addictive, you know? A few weeks ago, I guess it was a couple months ago now, Elon Musk tweeted out something about, hey, guess what, everybody? Donald Trump's on the Epstein list. Everybody freaked out for a little while. Then a couple weeks ago, we had Pam Bondi say that she had the Epstein list sitting on her desk. And then people got really interested in that. And then all of a sudden the FBI goes, nah, there's no Epstein list. And he definitely killed himself. And then we had the video of Trump saying, why are we still talking about Epstein? Why are we still talking about Epstein? It's over. Get over it. The Epstein thing is boring now for Donald. Oh my God. So funny. Isn't that like such a, I don't know. I feel like that's such a high school mean girl reaction to this. Like, are you still going on about this? Oh my God. It's so over. Bizarre behavior. But, since that time, the past couple weeks has been the longest I've ever seen Epstein and Trump, you know, their connection at least, stay in the news. And maybe even just like Epstein period. People are very interested in this topic right now. And I've seen a lot of people who I respect and people who I watch for my political and cultural and whatever commentary, my news, whatever. I've seen a lot of people get a lot of details wrong about the Epstein case that I know because I've kind of subjected myself to all of this stuff. And I thought I might want to do like maybe a series of streams going over some of these things. So let's start with the Epstein client list. So I'm sure everybody's heard of this famous list. There is a famous writer actually named Stephen King. Can I zoom in? Yes. Oh, beautiful. The Epstein client list is real. He tweeted this out. What was this? A week ago or so? Oh, okay. More than a week ago. The Epstein client list is real. So is the Tooth Fairy and Santa Claus. And if you're anything like me, you saw this and you noticed that basically every response is like, dude, what? I'm like, you're on it. You knew him too? Oh no, please tell me you're not on it. This is something a client on the list would say. What on earth would compel you to implicate yourself like this? Yada, yada, yada. People were very upset. Now, what is the Epstein client list? What is it? The Epstein client list is the idea of it rather, is that that first of all, okay, if you're brand new to Epstein was literal elite billionaire pedophile. Can I say pedophile on Twitch? I mean, YouTube? I don't really know what the things are. I try to avoid saying it on my YouTube channel, but it's going to be a little bit hard to avoid. But anyway, so there's one of the theories, I guess you could say conspiracy theories about Epstein is that he was sort of, for lack of a better word, a pimp to the powerful, where he would associate with all of these powerful people, world leaders, celebrities, actors, academics, and he would provide them with underage girls to assault sexually. And there's a lot of compelling evidence that this is the case. So I won't get into that right now, but that is one possible theory of what Epstein was up to. Why was he doing this? Like, what did he get out of it? There's also compelling evidence that Epstein was recording these encounters and may have been selling them or using them as leverage, blackmail material, providing them to global intelligence organizations, including but not limited to the CIA, the Israeli Mossad, Russian intelligence. I forget what they're called, not KGB, the new one. My understanding. So Notes from the Void has a interesting question here. My understanding is Epstein didn't keep a client list, but couldn't the FBI figure out a list of co-conspirators using forensics? So the idea that there's an Epstein client list, like there exists out there a list. Epstein kept a laminated list in his wallet that was like, in case of emergency, like top secret, do not read unless you're me. Like in case of emergency, please provide to all newspaper outlets or whatever, a list of all of his clients. These are people I trafficked children to. That idea is mostly a kind of right-wing brain worms theory that emerged during the Ghislaine Maxwell trial, I believe, that people have posted all of these like fake lists that they made up that includes, just Democrat politicians, doesn't include Trump, celebrities that people don't like who have no connection to Epstein. Like the idea of an Epstein client list is fake. It is like a meme more than it is something that we have actual evidence for. And I've noticed that this time, now that people are saying, well, Musk tweeted out, Trump's name is in the Epstein files. Now there are Epstein files. There actually are Epstein files. And, there are Epstein files and, we know about this, but the idea that there's a list is not quite true. But what I've noticed people saying online, especially people on the left, is they've sort of started to redefine Epstein list to be like not an actual list that they would find like taped up on the wall next to his bed or something like that. Dear Diary or something like in his notes. Here's everyone I'm trafficking kids to. It's more, so it's becoming redefined to mean like, okay, but you could make like I even noticed it on this thing where was it? Okay, yeah, this guy, Evan Loves Wharf, says, come on, dude. Clearly, Epstein had clients who could be compiled into a list. So that's actually like a reasonable version of what people might mean when they say Epstein list, Epstein client list. We could make one. We could make one ourselves based on the evidence that we have. And so I thought, why don't we do that? I feel like that could be a fun little thing. We could make our own our own list of Epstein clients. So let me see. I'm just looking for like an online notepad. Here we go. I'm going to, what can I do here? Jeffrey Epstein's secret client list. Please do not read. Top secret. So if Epstein did have a list of some kind, let's make this big. Let's make it even bigger. No, too big. Back down. If Epstein did have a secret client list, what would it say on it? Who would be on this list? Who do we know about? Well, okay. I thought we could go through this. Also, before we get into this, let me show you the FBI document that was released that people have been talking about lately. This is the one where we got this from. A little bit hard to zoom in with this thing, but whatever, I'll read it. This systematic review revealed no incriminating, in quotes, client list. There was also no credible evidence found that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals as part of his actions. We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. So, this is what pissed people off. Because the FBI does have like tons of files, tons and tons and tons of files on Epstein that we haven't seen yet. They have a lot of things that presumably would be more evidence for us to potentially create our own little client list. But in this is what they told us, and we checked everything, and no, there's no client list. There's no proof of anything. They also mentioned the files relating to Epstein include a large volume of images of Epstein, images and videos of victims who are either minors or appear to be minors, and over 10,000 downloaded videos and images of illegal, I think I can say this, child sex abuse material and other pornography. Teams of agents, analysts, attorneys, and privacy and civil liberties experts combed through the digital and documentary evidence with the aim of providing as much information as possible to the public while simultaneously protecting victims. Much of the material is subject to court-ordered sealing. Now, if you're unaware of this aspect of the case, in Epstein's I think it was his New York home, they found DVDs that were labeled redacted name plus redacted girl's name and then like an age that would be like 14 or something like that. Like they found these DVDs and there were cameras in every room, all these bedrooms, all bathrooms, massage rooms. So we've been assuming that these DVDs would have proof of whoever it was that was a client, I guess we could say, of Epstein's. Doesn't seem to really, I mean, this paragraph here, like, yes, we have images of just Epstein and these young girls. It's just him. He was just recording himself. He was just that narcissistic that he would do such a thing. And I guess, I mean, I feel like that is them acknowledging what people have been wondering about, but I'm not so sure. So let's look at, first of all, let's look at the proof that there was at least clients. I think this one is maybe the quickest way I can show you. Yeah, there was probably clients. So, Jess Staley. If you guys know who Jess Staley is, he was the CEO of JP Morgan Bank, extremely rich dude. And at one point, his messages and emails with Epstein were revealed. And check out this one. Cryptic messages. And let me just zoom in for you guys. This is a little bit hard to read. Hang on. I think I might need both hands for this. There we go. Okay. Cryptic messages between the two stirred the most controversy, including an exchange about Disney princesses in July 2010. So Staley writes to Epstein, "That was fun. Say hi to Snow White." Epstein replied, "What character would you like next?" Staley replied, "Beauty and the Beast." Epstein replied, "Well, one side is available." Staley told the court he was not able to explain this exchange. Now, you guys remember like Pizzagate when there was the whole idea was that like these pedophiles are talking in code. They're using like when they talk about let's get pizza, they really mean let's get a young girl. And like that was like I think most of us know that that's very silly and dumb. That's not what people are talking about when they wrote pizza in these emails. I mean, maybe I shouldn't say that. I guess it's maybe I shouldn't say even that I know that for a fact, but that's my impression of Pizzagate. But this is actual elite, pedophiles speaking in code. This is them using a code. Oh no, my camera just cut out. Oh, it's back. All right, weird. And I feel like it's extremely obvious what they might have been talking about here. That was fun. Say hi to Snow White. Oh, Beauty and the Beast. Well, one side is available. If you know what I mean. Like super lame, super stupid. And then he's like, when he was asked by the court about this, he was like, I don't remember what I meant by that. Like just a weak response. So I'm going to go ahead, and by the way, like, please nobody sue me. I don't know anything for sure, but I'm just going to say, I think Jess Staley, JP Morgan CEO. And let me just put actually here, and I'll make sure to put it in small print. In Chill Goblin's opinion. Right. So, and then you know what? I'll also put do not sue. I think that should keep me safe. All right. So we got one, Jess Staley. Let's see who else we can find. So, if you go on this website, Court Listener, this website has every like document related to the Epstein case. Is there an easy way that I can just view this stuff? Like full screen it or something? My conspiracy theory is that someone has made this friggin' website, Court Listener, is so hard to navigate. So I have some page numbers marked down here, but so this is Virginia Giuffre's from her court case against Ghislaine Maxwell from I believe this is from 2015 or 2016. This particular 2016. It didn't ever come out until it wasn't released until 29. I believe this was released in 2019. Actually, get this. A bunch of documents from this case were first released to the public in 2019, August 9th, the day that Epstein died. So let's just that's a little bit of a coincidence. But Virginia Giuffre is a victim of Epstein, a survivor of Epstein, who was, in my opinion, like such a brave and admirable person. She really she wasn't afraid of being attacked or killed or whatever by all of these elite, very, very powerful people who she was accusing of crimes, including Epstein. She just really needed the world to know. She needed to know, and she would do anything to get the word out. And she did a lot of very smart things. To get the word out about this. She just passed away recently by suicide. Some people doubt that it was a suicide. Personally, I sort of believe that it was, but I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't really, I can't get into tangents. I'm really trying to fight against my ADHD right now. But let's go to page 11 here in this document. So page 11. So this is her deposition here, and I'm trying to zoom in, but I don't know. I think I might be all the way zoomed in. Yeah. Yeah, no, I can't. Doesn't look like, oh no, I can zoom in a little bit more. There we go. Okay, page 11. So she has asked the question, If I asked you the question, were you sexually trafficked to foreign presidents? Do you understand what that question means? Virginia says, yes. What does it mean? Was I lent out for the purposes of sex to a foreign person president? All right. And what is the answer to that question? Yes. And if I asked, have you met any foreign presidents? Do you understand what that question means? Yes. And what's the answer to that question? Yes. All right. And if I asked you, which foreign presidents have you met? Do you understand what that question means? Yes. What is the answer to that question? What is the name of the person? Yeah, it's such a confusing way. I guess this is just how lawyers talk, but like all of these different ways of asking. Who are the foreign presidents that you've met? Answer. I honestly can't remember his name at this time. I'm a very visual person. So, all right. Can you describe him then? Yes. He's Spanish. Okay. Tall, dark hair. Anything? All right. Anything else? And he's got a foreign tongue, accent. At what age approximately? Was I or was he? Was he? Going over here, page 13. I'd say in his 40s. Okay. And where did you meet him? I believe it was New Mexico. Sorry. I'm going to just skip over here. I've met a lot of very high, powerful people, and I wasn't just introduced to them as who they were. Doodly-doodly-dee. Okay. All right. If I were to ask you the question of how many times you had sex with, do you know what that question means? I believe so. All right. And what is the answer to that question? I believe I was with once. Who are they talking about here? Not sure. Okay. So I guess this is, all right. I thought that the name here was Ehud Barak. Sorry, I should have checked this before. Was there one that was unredacted? I thought the name was Ehud Barak, the Israeli prime minister, who remained very close friends with Epstein until he died. Like months before Epstein died, Ehud Barak was like hanging out at Epstein's house. It was like Epstein, Epstein's lawyer, Steve Bannon, and Ehud Barak just chilling together. So you know what? I might be looking at the 2019 documents. But okay, here we go. Dupre has also alleged, and this is from a court filing. This is from the Virginia versus Alan Dershowitz court case. Virginia has also alleged that she was forced to have sex with former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak, former New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson. Okay, here we go. You know what? This will be quicker than going through all of those things, because these are the names that were in that document I was trying to show you guys. Former New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson, former Democratic Senate Majority Leader Senator George Mitchell, the late MIT computer scientist Marvin Minsky, billionaire Thomas Pritzker of Hyatt Hotels, hedge fund manager Glenn Dubin, MC2 model agency co-founder Jean-Luc Brunel, England's Prince Andrew, also an unnamed prince, foreign president, and owner of a French hotel chain. Okay, so that just probably saved me an hour of time going through Virginia's stuff. Let's just go with this for now. We're trying to make a list. I'm going to assume that everything is good there. Sorry, where's my Epstein list? Where did I put it? There you go. All right, so one at a time. Ehud Barak. And again, guys, hey, listen, if you're one of these guys, please read the fine print here. This is my opinion and you can't sue. Ehud Barak, Israeli Prime Minister. Who else we got here? Okay, Bill Richardson. And this is a Democratic governor. From New Mexico. And then we've got a senator, Democratic Senator, George Mitchell. Who else? Marvin Minsky. I actually don't know who this guy is, but apparently he's a computer scientist. You guys know who Marvin Minsky is? Is he? What do you got? Is he good? No idea. Oh, Thomas Pritzker. Thomas Pritzker. Diddly-doo. How do you spell his name? Kerr. And I'll just put Hyatt Hotels. Who is he? Owner of Hyatt Hotels? I don't know. I'll just put Hyatt Hotels billionaire. Then we've got, God, there's so many here. Glenn Dubin. You guys know Glenn Dubin? He is an important figure in Epstein lore. He is he's a hedge fund guy. Manager. And he actually married one of Epstein's ex-girlfriends. What was her name? Shoot. Ava, I think? Ava something or other, Ava Dubin, after they got married. And they had a kid together, Chelina Dubin, who Epstein was like obsessed with. His favorite person in the world, according to a lot of people. And he was her official godfather and stuff like that. So weird. And Glenn Dubin and Ava Dubin are constantly flying the plane with him. They're on a few of the flights with Bill Clinton. They're very involved in Epstein's world. I don't know if you guys saw any of you guys saw that, what's it called? A Flesh Simulator video about Epstein's weird Spotify account. He has one of his playlists is called For Chelina, I think it is. Anyway, so Glenn Dubin, a lot of weird stuff going on with him. But yes, Virginia also claims she was trafficked to him. MC2, okay, so this guy, I don't know if he really belongs on this list. I'll put him on here. Jean-Luc Brunel. MC2. What was he? Co-founder. So Jean-Luc Brunel, I don't know if he specifically belongs on this client list because Jean-Luc was not really a client of Epstein's. He was a co-worker of Epstein's. He was basically doing the same job that Ghislaine Maxwell was doing for Epstein. He was procuring young girls for him in Europe and flying them over to, Florida or New York or whatever. He's an interesting character. I don't know if people really know about him. You often hear the only people who have ever been arrested for Epstein's crimes are Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Well, that's not quite true. Jean-Luc Brunel was also arrested for these crimes, and he also committed suicide in prison, just like Epstein possibly did. But it is true to say Ghislaine Maxwell is the only person currently, facing justice. As you could argue that, I got a fly in the room. You could argue that, these guys escaped it. So, should we include Jean-Luc on here? If we do include him, I feel like we should include Ghislaine Maxwell. But it's just I don't really think those guys are clients. You know what I mean? I'm going to make an executive decision here. I'm going to keep him on, and I'm going to put Ghislaine Maxwell on here. Whatever. Let's just make this list longer. And I'll just say Madam. And actually, I'll have a separate section for them. We'll call them Epstein. I don't know. What do you call this sort of staff? Epstein conspiracy staff members. All right, let's go with that. I feel okay about that. Now I do have all of these guys here, everyone except for Jess Staley so far. Right now, I've only shown you Virginia Giuffre's, accusations. So that isn't maybe so convincing, I guess. So I have some more people we can get into, but let me just go here and give us another person on the list here. Now, if you have an hour and a half, you can watch my video about Bill Clinton. But if not, here's a tweet from Virginia Giuffre, who said, Epstein, I quote, said, Clinton owes me some favors. Had nothing to do with finance or whatever. Can't deny what I've seen, although I did not personally witness it. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out why he was on the island with 2 girls walking him to a cabana. I go into this in a lot more detail in my video. There are 3 people who have placed Bill Clinton on Epstein's island. Virginia Dupre has spoken several times about seeing 2 very young-looking, brown-haired girls, Bill Clinton with his arm around both of them at night, walking towards his cabana. So, yikes! I would say that's a bit of a yikes, personally. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to call that an accusation. She didn't personally witness abuse, but I mean, it's good enough for this list, which again, is just my opinion. Please don't sue me. Clinton, I know you're watching. I know you've been a day one Goblin fan. But yeah, rough, eh? And we haven't talked about Alan Dershowitz yet, so let's get into him. So these are I'm setting my own tweets here. This will probably be the quickest way to do this, though, as opposed to poring over these court documents. So I tweeted this out a while back. Reading over Epstein stuff, Dershowitz comes up a lot. Some of Epstein's most suspicious connections met up with him a few times over several years, but Dersh is on another level. It's like every free weekend he'd head straight to Epstein's for a massage. Excuse me. So let's have a look here. So this was a interview with, I believe, Juan Alessi, or was it Alfredo Rodriguez, one of Epstein's former staff. His like a maid or a cleaner or house manager or somebody from one of his houses. So they would ask, I think this was in his Miami house. Anyway, when Mr. Dershowitz was visiting, how often did he come? He came pretty often. I would say at least 4 or 5 times a year. And how long would he stay typically? 2-3 days. Did he have massages sometimes when he was there? Yes. A massage was like a treat for everybody. If they want it, we call the massage and they have a massage. And if you're not familiar with the way that Epstein would abuse these girls, his sort of MO was telling them that they were just doing a massage, and then during the massage, elevating it into sexual contact, which over time would turn into intercourse, non-consensual intercourse. And then when he would have clients or, friends of his over, he would say, give this person a massage, give them the same treatment you give me. That was his sort of sneaky way of doing it. So it's very gross, but interesting to hear this statement. A massage was like a treat for everybody. If they want it, we call the massage and they have a massage. And this was another interview with, who was this with? I think this was with Virginia Dufresne. In addition to the people you've already named for me today, were you sexually trafficked to anyone else during your period between 1999 and 2002? Yes. Who else? Virginia says, Alan Dershowitz, Jean Brunel, the obvious people I've already stated, Jeffrey Epstein, obviously, Ghislaine Maxwell, blah, 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 blah. Now, do you have knowledge of Professor Dershowitz having sex with any minor girls other than you claim yourself? Yes, I don't know your names. How do you know that? I witnessed it. Where were you? On an airplane. How many girls? 1. So she's saying she saw more than 1 girl with Alan Dershowitz. Anyways, here's another name for our list. Oh, I forgot to put who Bill Clinton is. What's Bill Clinton? I think he's famous for being a Kamala Harris campaign surrogate. Okay, and who did I just say? Oh, yes, Alan Dershowitz. By the way, you want to see like the best clip ever?
I assure you I never had sex with Virginia Roberts. I challenge Virginia Roberts to come on your show, look in the camera, and say the following words. I accuse Alan Dershowitz of having had sex with me on 6 or 7 occasions. She has never been willing to accuse me in public, so please accuse me on this show. I challenge you.
It's Virginia.
I was with Alan Dershowitz multiple times. At least 6 that I can remember. Well, I was trafficked to Alan Dershowitz from Epstein. Epstein made me, essentially, forced me to have sex with him. Every time I was trafficked was at Epstein or Gielen's behest. He's denied being with me. Is one of us telling the truth? Yes. Is that person me? Yes.
Yeah. It's a little bit hard to watch, but I do find that that moment really awesome because he's like, she's never been willing to publicly accuse me. And it just cuts to her like, yeah, no, he did it. He did that. A lot of whiplash in that clip showing like one of the worst people on earth, maybe the worst guy, maybe the worst human, maybe the worst existing human to like one of the best people, in my humble opinion. Excuse me. A lot of what we know about Epstein, we wouldn't know if Virginia hadn't been like so strong to like repeatedly get into court cases with Ghislaine Maxwell, Alan Dershowitz, and have all this stuff eventually, the Miami Herald sued for the release of these documents. Like we eventually got these. Julie K. Brown, huge part of that, writer for the LA Times. Anyway, LA Times, Miami Herald. What am I thinking of? I'm confused, but don't listen to me. Yeah, she's very cool. R.I.P. Pour one out for an absolute legend. Is it true that Drumpft? I love that you added a T there. Drumpft. Now that's a name I haven't heard in many years. Is it true that Drumpft is thinking of pardoning Maxwell? I do not know what is going on with Trump and Maxwell and everything. I sort of like, I don't know. They're trying to pull some weird move. I can't imagine it will work. Trump actually apparently did consider pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell back when he was at the end of his first term. Like that's when presidential pardons happen. Like if Trump pardons Maxwell, it's not going to be until the 30 seconds before midnight on the last day of his term. But he thought about doing it before, apparently, according to some sources. And apparently it was Alan Dershowitz who was trying to tell him to do this. So yeah, it's a weird case. Back to our little list here. So we got Alan Dershowitz, and what is he? Evil lawyer. Just a guy who will only defend the worst people on earth and the worst countries on earth. Big Israel's lawyer, Trump's lawyer, Epstein's lawyer, O.J. Simpson's lawyer, this is his whole thing. I did also want to, we talked already about, oh wait, did we? I guess I didn't put him down here, but there's also another guy that you guys might know of who was accused by Virginia. Prince Andrew, the royal prince himself. This is a photograph of Virginia Dupre when she was 17 years old, and Prince Andrew of the monarchy, of monarch fame, the Queen's favorite son. Prince Andrew was Queen Elizabeth's favorite son. Isn't that messed up? Yeah. I mean, he was below, he's this, anyway, this guy hasn't faced any justice, but here he is with 17-year-old Virginia Dupre. Virginia tried really hard to get the word out about this dude, was failing to. She ended up being interviewed by a bunch of by the Daily Mail, a British garbage tabloid kind of whatever paper, I guess. Not a very reputable source, but she was able to get this published here and in, I think it's Radar Online, this U.S. tabloid by David Pecker. Just like the sketchiest things imaginable, because mainstream publications would not touch this because she was also saying shit about American politicians. So, you know, as much as I like to shit on the Daily Mail, we wouldn't have a lot of the information that we do have if it wasn't for their reporting on this. When was this? 2011. 2011. This was reported. Crazy. And the full picture, I mean, this isn't even the full picture. Where's the full picture? Did they not put it? Oh, that's interesting. There it is. Okay, they did put it. Because the full picture has Ghislaine Maxwell in there too, who's like a British celebrity. Or, you know, probably was more famous in England. Definitely was more famous in England, at least until, you know, the Epstein stuff started popping off in like 2019. Really insane. So this dude, Prince Andrew, eventually did end up in a lawsuit with Virginia Dupre. And in this case, this is funny. This is funny. I got to show you guys this. It's not just Virginia's word that we have for this. So Prince Andrew was getting sued and he was like, I got a surprise witness. Another victim of Epstein's who says that, so this was like I believe I don't know if this is like official legal term, but at least the Daily Mail called this the unclean hand strategy, where he was going to, instead of even really defending himself at all, he was like, well, you're bad too. The woman who's suing me is also bad. And his thing was, she was a recruiter for Epstein, where she would find underage girls to work also as, you know, to also enter into sex trafficking, I guess we can call it. It's often referred to, like Epstein and like a lot of the victims refer to it as sexual slavery. And this is true. I mean, Virginia's talked about this, how she was, Epstein's operation is sometimes called what's it called? Like a sex trafficking pyramid scheme, where they'd recruit one girl and they'd be like, we'll pay you to do these massages, or we'll pay you the same amount to recruit other girls to do massages. And Virginia has talked about being kind of like forced into doing this, and how she wasn't very good at it. And Ghislaine would like get frustrated with her because she was very bad at approaching people and what's the word? Like enticing them, luring them, whatever. Anyway, like she's talked about this, but anyway, Prince Andrew found a girl who apparently was, who Virginia Roberts recruited her at 14 and trained her to give sexual massages. So this was his strategy. He was going to use this to go after, you know, Virginia by saying, guess what? She was also a recruiter. She's just as bad as Ghislaine. Well, this didn't really help because this surprise witness, Carolyn Andriano, corroborated claims that Ms. Roberts had sex with Andrew at Maxwell's London home when she was 17. And it's like, she also was like, yes, I agree. He did have sex with underage Virginia. So anyways, so we've got multiple sources on this. Not just Virginia. I believe there's even another one. I think there's Alana. I believe there's a Sjoberg. How do you say it? Alana Sjoberg. Anyway, also accused him. Prince Andrew, Prince. Also goes on this list. Just in case you're on the fence as to if anything happened here between Andrew and them, they ended up settling the lawsuit for £12 million. 12 million pounds. There's a fun poem about this. See if I can remember it. The grand old Duke of York, he had 12 million quid. He gave it to someone he'd never met for something he'd never did. That is, I don't know. I think that's a kind of a disturbingly delightful poem about this whole thing. Yep. Where, I don't know, where does the monarch monarchy in the UK get their money? Isn't it from like taxpayers or something, or like land taxes or something like that? Like this is where your land tax money is going, UK watchers. Look at this guy, eh? Look at this guy. Jesus. People are making fun of him, saying he's like sweaty. Someone in the thing. His name would technically be Andrew Windsor, Prince Sweaty Nonce. Yeah. So like Virginia described in detail her encounter with Andrew and said that he was like dripping sweat. And then he did an interview where he was like, well, that's how we know it. It simply isn't possible because I don't sweat. It's the strangest thing. My whole life, I've just never sweat in my entire life. I'm like, what? What do you mean you've never sweat? That's crazy. Okay, never sweat. All right, next. Okay, sorry. I feel like I spent too much time on Prince Andrew. We got more to go through here. There's another victim of Epstein named Tila Davies. Tila Davies was also a victim of Epstein's. It's 17 years old. And okay, which page is this on? I wrote this down. 58. Part 58, not page 58. Line 58. Okay. So this is from a court document here. This is from her complaints, I guess. Epstein tried to introduce Tila to his friends and essentially offer her, I'll try to zoom in here a little bit, essentially offer her as a sexual object to them. In one instance, Epstein had Tila spend time with a well-known Hollywood producer who then demanded and attempted to engage in abusive sexual behavior. Tila barely escaped. So this was okay, maybe I don't want to be putting something in here that's not here, but the way that I take this to mean, like I'm kind of reading between the lines here. I might not be correct about this. What I take this to mean is she was trafficked not just to this guy. She was trafficked to other guys. But in this instance in particular, this unnamed Hollywood producer like was violent with her. He was like really messed up and like, I don't know. It says abusive sexual behavior. And that made it different. Now, in this complaint, that Hollywood producer is not named. But later on, yeah, so here's Tila Davies with Epstein in like photograph. So like, just so people know, like, yeah, like there is evidence that she actually was a victim of Epstein's. Like this isn't just somebody coming out of nowhere here. You know what? Maybe I'm wrong here. I thought that there was an article or something where she had said that it was Harvey Weinstein, but maybe not. Maybe not. In that case, I'd like to submit an apology to Harvey Weinstein. I almost put him on the list. Davies reveals her sister was attacked by Harvey Weinstein at Epstein's Paris apartment after apparently being introduced to the disgraced film producer by the pedophile. But is that Tila Davies? No, Shantae Davies, another victim of... Oh, wait. Oh, sorry. Okay, I see what's happening here. So Shantae Davies and Tila Davies are sisters. I just found that out. I knew that they were both, last name both was Davies. But yeah, Shantae Davies was one of the flight attendants on Bill Clinton's plane. Actually, she's the person who was photographed massaging Bill Clinton in an airport. She says that, so here's Shantae Davies with Bill Clinton. Here they are in the middle of a massage. That's Shantae Davies. That's during the famous flight to Africa. But her sister, Tila Davies, is the one, at least according to this Daily Mail thing, who was attacked by Harvey Weinstein at Epstein's Paris apartment after apparently being introduced to the disgraced film producer by the pedophile. Okay. I knew I wasn't hallucinating there. Yeah. Okay. So you know what? I would like to apologize to Harvey Weinstein again for taking you off the list. I'm putting you back on. Let's put Harvey Weinstein on there. And if you're familiar with if you've ever read the book by Ronan Farrow, Catch and Kill, which is about the what do they call him? Super producer, mega producer. If you've ever read the book Catch and Kill by Ronan Farrow, you'll know that Harvey Weinstein, who was also photographed with Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein, I spelled wrong. Here's him with Epstein and Ghislaine at some kind of, I don't know, Halloween party or something. Some Eyes Wide Shut looking shit. But you'll know that Weinstein and Epstein use a lot of the same tactics to catch and destroy stories. David Pecker from National Enquirer, how he also worked with Trump. There's a lot of shady media connections with hiding stories. It's interesting. But anyway, so that's just an accusation. We put Harvey Weinstein on the list. And again, this is also a list of like the most litigious people. So I would direct you to the fine print of my thing here. This is only Chill Goblin's opinion, and I'm not saying this is for sure true. Yeah, I think that should cover me. Okay, we got Hollywood super producer. Oh, Hollywood. No, Hollywood. Nothing holy about it. Quite the opposite, in fact. All right. Okay, we're coming along. This is the list. We're getting a bit of a list here, right? Let's see what else. Leon Black. So this was the. This is actually kind of recent. Oh, continue without supporting us. This is kind of recent. 2024 February. But there had been a lawsuit against this guy Leon Black for many years. I think dating back to 2019. Excuse me. Let me take a sip here. And let me take a little puff. Legally speaking, are you chill? I think so. I don't know. Am I not allowed to say my opinions? I've tried to be very clear that I don't know any of this for sure. But I'm basing this on, some, I think, interesting evidence, interesting statements and leaked emails and yada, yada, yada. So a woman accused billionaire Leon Black of sexually assaulting her decades ago at the Manhattan mansion of disgraced financier and sex offender Jeffrey Epstein has ended her lawsuit. Hey, like a lot of these lawsuits do not end up winning. Like these are, women who have experienced extreme trauma suing the most powerful men on earth. And they're suing people who have a lot of power to just like destroy them financially and emotionally, psychologically, force them to relive their trauma again and again. So this one was dropped, but that's only one person who's suing them. So yes, November 2022, Pearson alleged that Epstein arranged for her in 2002 to give Black a massage for $300. Again, this is his MO. This is basically how everyone says that Epstein would traffic them to other powerful men. She said Black, who was 8 inches taller, weighed more than twice as much. Okay, I won't get into the specifics. It's a little bit traumatic just reading. But where was it? Okay. He's still pursuing a malicious prosecution lawsuit against the Wigdor law firm, which represented Pearson and 2 other women who said Black raped them, which he denies. So there's three women who've accused him of this. Another model, Guzel Ganyeva, and why does it just call her an autistic woman? What? Seriously, Reuters? What's with that? This person gets to be called a former Russian model, and the other lawsuit was from an autistic woman. I guess that because that's the only thing they know about her. But anyway, those 2 lawsuits are still ongoing. So this whole article is, oh yeah, it turns out that woman, that lawsuit's been dropped. He's fully exonerated. No wrongdoing. No, there's still 2 other people who are trying to make this go through. But yeah, this particular one was dismissed with prejudice, meaning that she's not even allowed to sue him again or recoup any of her costs. Like, suing these guys is pretty tough. Like, these guys have a lot of these guys have a lot of resources. Let's just leave it at that. Yeah, Leon Black. What? Okay, listen. I'm not a total moron. I know I've heard his name before. But who is this guy? A private equity investor. Oh, okay. So he doesn't add anything to the world then. He's a former CEO of Apollo Global Management, which he co-founded in 1990 with Mark Rowan and Josh Harris. Excuse me. The chairman of the Museum of Modern Art. Wow. And at one point he paid $158 million to Jeffrey Epstein. I wonder why he would have done that. Look directly at camera. Jim Halpert face. I don't think that's a Jim Halpert face. I don't really know. I don't really know what he looks like. But anyway, let us add to our list. Leon Black. What was he again? I know I just looked it up, but private equity investor. Okay. I'm just going to put investor. Billionaire investor, I'll say. All right. And I have one last lizard person here for us. A final lizard. Oh, and yes. What does it say? Remember to say that you love life and to live, and you know how to swim. Yeah, I should say that. I love life. I love to live. Everything's chill with me. I definitely will not be taking the Jeffrey Epstein route out of town. Willingly. Now, those of you who might have some guesses, Chris Tucker and Stephen Hawkins. So, I mean, maybe I should also mention, like, there are tons of people who are, shall we say, connected to Epstein, who were found in his black book. Tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of people. Chris Tucker, Stephen Hawking. They're all of these guys who hung out with Epstein at some point, went to his island, photographed with him, were at parties with him. But I'm not making a list of everyone who's associated with Epstein, period. That's not what we're doing here. What we're doing is more who might actually be spoiler, who might actually be, what's the word? Evil. So here's a fun article. Maybe we should go through this, because now I'm feeling like, oh, is this too short? I guess this has been like, I've been doing this for about like an hour or so. So I don't know. This could be a good clip if I edit it down. But like there's Jeffrey Epstein's little black book. This was released. It's got all of his contact information for all of his friends and associates and people. You can look through the book. It's all available online in full. The entire unredacted book was leaked on 8chan, the Nazi pedophile website. I think 2021 or something like that. And then it was leaked again, but fully redacted by the Trump administration as part of their like Epstein Files Part 1. They leaked an even less, they leaked a redacted version of what we already had. Really fucking stupid. But this is a fun article I thought from Mother Jones. Pretty funny, pretty well. What's it called? Well written, I think. I'll just read a little bit. I'm going to go through the whole thing, but Jeffrey Epstein's Little Black Book is one of the most cursed documents ever compiled in this miserable, dying country. Totaling 97 pages and containing the names, numbers, and addresses of a considerable cross-section of the global elite, Epstein's personal contract book first turned up in a courtroom in 2009. After his former butler, Alfredo Rodriguez, tried to sell it to lawyers representing Epstein's victims for $50,000. Rodriguez described the book apparently assumed by Epstein's employees as the Holy Grail. It is annotated with cryptic marginalia, stars next to certain entries, arrows pointing towards others, and the names of at least 38 people are circled for reasons that aren't totally clear. I believe that this was cleared up maybe after this was mentioned, but Alfredo Rodriguez, who was the guy who stole the book, and he was planning to sell it to lawyers representing Epstein's victims. That's illegal. You can't do that. You can't steal whatever this documentary evidence and then sell it for profit. Sorry, Alfredo, you can't do that. But he tried, and then he got in trouble. He got arrested. He got tried. He got sent to prison, and he spent longer in prison than Epstein did for running a trafficking operation. Crazy, just like such a insane miscarriage of justice. There are certain names in the book circled, and he circled them, saying that these people would have more information. These were persons of interest, according to him. Alfredo Rodriguez. I thought this was just a funny line in this article. Epstein's little black book isn't little at all. It's gargantuan. Its defining feature is its size and thoroughness, and there are just as many boring numbers as exciting ones. For every Jordanian princess, there are 3 reflexologists from Boca. Anyway, I like that part. But there's one part here where he sort of like lists the most, like the highlights, I guess, of doing these calls. Here, I'll take down your thing, Red Punk. Doug Band, longtime advisor to Bill Clinton, called a number listed as his home number, which ended up being his childhood home. Spoke to his dad for 5 minutes. Seemed like a decent guy. Doug hasn't lived here for 30 years. All right, man, take care. I don't know. I just think that's a funny little call there. Jimmy Kane, former CEO of Bear Stearns. Wife answered the phone when asked about Epstein and Kane's relationship. She said, "Yes, they were friends, but we have no comment." I feel like that is a comment, Mrs. Stearns, Mrs. Bear Stearns. Edward Rizek, former chief marketing officer for L Brands. I can't talk about any of that. Our business has requested no interviews. Rupert Murdoch, executive chairman of News Corp. His assistant gave me Hope Hicks' cell phone number after I asked for it. Hicks has not returned any of my calls. Okay, Jordanian princess. Princess Firyal, Jordanian philanthropist. Called home number, doorman answered. I asked for a Ms. Friyal. Completely butchering the pronunciation. Doorman was confused, so I said the princess, and he immediately told me where she was and who she was with. Yep, people do that. I was a telemarketer for years, and you would not believe how many people gave me the cell phone number of their boss that they really shouldn't have given. Peter Roth, chairman and CEO of Warner Brothers. Listed cell number went to his son's phone. Yeah, I don't really want to talk to you about any of this, his son said. I don't want to be anywhere near this whole Jeffrey Epstein thing. Jamie Grant, former chairman of investment banking, JP Morgan. Listed cell number also went to his son, who told me his dad didn't know Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell. It's sort of like the New York City business world. I would say Jeffrey Epstein is like a couple people removed from my dad. Well, he does have your dad's phone number, though. Robert Meister, well, I guess he has his dad's son's phone number, so maybe that is a couple degrees removed. Robert Meister, former chairman of Aon Insurance and the man who introduced Epstein to Leslie Wexner. He's a sicko. Bye-bye. That's so Trump. That's so Trump-coded. He's a sicko. Bye-bye. Kerry Kennedy, president of RFK Human Rights. Anyway, you get the idea. Yeah, so there are tons of people in that book. You know, there are photographs of him with Chris Tucker. There's photographs of Epstein with all kinds of people. There's that one of Ghislaine Maxwell and Elon Musk. But for a lot of these people, there's no actual evidence that they were involved in anything with Epstein. That doesn't mean that they weren't. It just means that there's no evidence for it. You know, Elon Musk's brother, Kimball Musk, there's a little bit more to that one. I would say, I think like with Elon, there's a lot of stories about Elon taking advantage of women that are suspiciously close to Epstein's MO. There's that woman. It's the woman, if you remember the story about Elon offering to buy a woman a horse, and the way that he kind of coerced her into sex was to hire her as a masseuse and get her to take massage lessons. And then during the massage, it's like exactly what Epstein used to do. So while I don't have any proof that, like, maybe that's just a billionaire thing. Maybe that isn't something that he learned from Epstein, but like, there's some things with Elon that are like weirdly close, but nothing like with these other guys where I would put him on the list or these other people. But hey, don't stop posting that picture of him and Ghislaine. I think he hates it. So, yeah. You know what? Okay. I didn't mention Steven Pinker. Sorry, I'll highlight that. I didn't mention Steven Pinker. I didn't mention Roger Stone. I know what you're talking about, though. There is let me see if I can find it real quick. Mad scientist. Shoot. Okay, I can't find it. But there was one, I know. So Steven Pinker did hang out with, if anybody has the link to the court doc, feel free to throw it in the thing. I know it's like really hard to, here's the thing here. Steven Pinker, that's Lawrence Krauss in the middle, and there's Jeffrey Epstein on the left. So Steven Pinker was a, I don't know, linguist. What even is he? He's a linguist. He's a socioeconomic commentator. I don't know if he has a degree in that, but he's the guy who's like, the better angels of our nature. Like, we are living in we're living in the best time to be alive. There's no suffering. There's no poverty. Everything's great. And like all these like weirdly coordinated graphs and stuff. There's some great videos by Unlearning Economics and We're in Hell about Steven Pinker. Just going over like how fucked up his way of looking at the world is. Don't really have anything about that, but there is a, I can't say Steven Pinker was involved in Epstein's infamous court case in 2005, I believe. He, as a linguist, as an expert in linguistics, like some kind of shitty Noam Chomsky, he wrote an expert opinion defending Epstein. Dershowitz reached out to him and was like, hey man, can you write something about the language of the law being unclear? And he wrote something about like, whatever, I don't know. I could look it up, but I don't really care that much. But he did help defend Epstein. He was involved in Dershowitz's defense of Epstein. Man, I'm not nearly as sweaty as I thought I'd be by this point, but I'm pretty sweaty. Now, there's also been another court documentation that I can't find right now, and I don't really know how to get to it. But one of Epstein's victims talks about meeting a man, being trafficked to a man on the island with white mad scientist hair, and his name, and she says his name, but his last name is redacted, but the first name is Stephen. So, I mean, white mad scientist hair, first name Stephen, association with Epstein, like, I mean, I feel like that's something, but for my purposes, I would need to see the unredacted name, you know. I mean, yeah, Samuel TV talks about Noam Chomsky also knew Epstein. That's true. No one's accused Chomsky of anything, so I'm going to be just totally assume that people who haven't got accusations are innocent. You know, there's Matt Groening, the Simpsons creator. Apparently, he got a foot massage from Virginia, but she didn't accuse him of anything else. She didn't see anything else. So, hey, I'm biased. I like Matt Groening. I like Noam Chomsky. I don't like Steven Pinker, but still, my dislike or like of somebody I don't think should really influence how I see the evidence. So I'm not going to put any of those guys on the list, but hey, we can say honorable mention. Oh, and the Roger Stone thing. Now I know what you're talking about, but unless I'm wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong. Who was it that brought up Roger Stone? Getty Kruger in the Alt Leftovers. Great name. Great channel name. So Roger Stone, I do not think was a client of Epstein. I don't even think he knew Epstein. Roger Stone was very quick to go after Clinton for Epstein. One of the first guys to start using Bill Clinton's connection to Epstein as a attack. Way back in 2015, he did a bunch of press about this guy, connecting him, and like before almost anyone. And he seems to have information about the case that he I'm guessing got from what's his name, David Pecker. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting distracted. But he wrote that book, The Clintons' War on Women, which had a whole chapter about Epstein. And there is a post online from, I think, 4chan that says it's from a guy who claims that he was on the island. He worked for Epstein. And he says that he saw a guy with a giant bull head, wearing a giant bull head, engaging in a criminal act with a underage girl. And he had a Richard Nixon back tattoo, which is what Roger Stone has. Now, as far as I know, no one has ever said Roger Stone was on the island, except for this completely unverified post on 4chan. Let me see if I can find it. Roger Stone, Epstein's Island, bull mask. I mean, like, he talks about it so much. Oh, again, I'm on the wrong tab again. Sorry. He talks about it so much. Yeah, personal driver. Okay, this is on Reddit. Stumbled over this. Okay, it's gone. Jeez. Let me go to the images because it'd probably be screenshotted. Can't find it. Sorry, guys. I can't find the thing I'm looking for. But the source is literally a 4chan post, and that is far below my threshold for acceptable evidence. But if anyone has anything more substantial than that, I believe the same guy who was like, I was Epstein's driver and I saw Roger Stone on the island and yada, yada, yada. He also said that after working for Epstein, he got a job working for Rihanna, the singer, who he says is also a pedophile elite. And he was also involved in picking up underage girls for her. So it's like an insane story. Yeah. It was posted in video format. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's probably like a YouTube video that goes into it, but you know what? It's not important right now. It's not true. So those are all people that I'm not putting on the list. These are, like I said, this isn't like 100% true, but I gotta have at least somebody credible who did have a connection to Epstein has said this, or in Jess Staley's case, his own words, sort of incriminate him. Now, next we have the final guy here. So this is a page from the London Daily Mirror, the Sunday Mirror, which was oddly enough a newspaper owned by Ghislaine Maxwell's dad back when he was alive, Robert Maxwell. This is one of his newspapers, and this is the gossip page. Chris Hutchins. Oh, you guys ready for gossip? This is the Perez Hilton of his day. Chris Hutchins with the stories they'll all be talking about. Now here we go. How sweet. Trump's Brit of all right. Now, if you've seen my video on Trump, which by the way, if you haven't seen it, now is a great time to rewatch it. I've been getting a lot of views and comments on it lately. So, I know it's back algorithm friendly. Give it a watch if you've got an hour and a half to spare, however long it is. My next video, by the way, is going to be like around 3 hours. So, rough. But give it a watch. And this particular one here, I do talk about this in the video, but I'm also I'm working with my friend, Presidential Penis, who's one of the mods on the r/Epstein subreddit. He and I are working on a video about this particular case because we believe that this is the closest thing we have to a smoking gun as far as connecting Trump to Epstein and saying that Trump was a beneficiary is not quite right, but a client of Epstein's trafficking. So let me go over this. And in my video, I was like, how sweet, Trump's Brit of all right. What the hell does that mean? I am so confused. Every word gets more confusing. But I did have a bunch of people in the comments, a bunch of Brits, explain this to me. Apparently in England, a sort of like cheeky way of saying that like a girl's hot is to be like, she's a bit of all right, isn't she? She's a bit of all right, isn't she? I don't know if it's like a posh thing or a, lower working class thing, but it's a bit of Brit slang. So it's a pun because it's not a bit of all right, it's a Brit of all right. And how sweet is like how sweet, but it's sweet because Trump owns hotels. Yeah. Anyway, that's what that's about. So let's go over this article. Just weeks after ditching his second wife, that's Marla Maples, Trump's second wife, America's best-known billionaire Donald Trump has fallen under the spell of a 20-year-old English girl. Trump, 50, who has failed in his bid to secure the services of Princess Diana's butler Paul Burrell, was in search of another British trophy when he met London model Anushka DeGeorgiou at a party in Manhattan. Several American... Okay, so Anushka DeGeorgiou, let me just pause. Let me just hit pause here for a second. Who is Anushka DeGeorgiou? Well, I tweeted about her the other day. Wait, what the heck? Where'd it go? Oh, I retweeted my old one. Okay, that's why. Yeah, I tweeted about her the other day. Anushka DeGeorgiou. Here's a picture of her from 1997, around the time this took place. Here she is. Here's the article we were just looking at. She is one of Jeffrey Epstein's victims. She's actually the first British woman to come forward in the case against Jeffrey Epstein. In fact, she came forward so early, sometime around, I want to say 2015, 16, something like that, that she was, according to Virginia Giuffre's lawyer, Brad Edwards, it was DeGeorgiou coming forward to corroborate what Virginia was saying, and she told the lawyers about her experience with Epstein, and it matched up with a bunch of things that Virginia had said that weren't in the public interest yet. So that gave Virginia Giuffre the courage to continue with her case, is DeGeorgiou's involvement. So DeGeorgiou, very, very huge. Here's her testimony from 2019. This was after Epstein died. Like, he was on trial at that point, and then he died. And then the judge, which I think is a pretty solid move from the judge, he was like, okay, well, even though our, the what's it called, plaintiff, whatever, even though our main guy is dead now, let's at least let all these women who never got the chance to testify and tell their story in court, let's give them a chance to tell their stories. So DeGeorgiou got a chance to testify. She says, when I was introduced to Jeffrey Epstein, I was young, full of hope and the foolishness of a teenager. I was idealistic and I saw the good in people. Jeffrey Epstein manipulated me, coerced me, sexually abused me. She goes on. She started as a 17-year-old. She started modeling, and that is when she got recruited by Epstein at 17. Okay, now let's go back to our article. All right, several Americans. So DeGeorgiou, that was just to tell you who she is. She's a victim of Epstein's. Of course, at this point in 1997, no one knew who Epstein was. No one knew any of this. But this was in 1997. So this would have been when Anushka was 20 years old. Beep this. Several American millionaires already had their eyes on Anushka, but she was there with Robert Maxwell's daughter, Ghislaine, who has introduced several of her attractive friends to the property developer. That means Trump. So, what? Excuse me? She was there with Robert Maxwell's daughter, Ghislaine, who has introduced several. I can't highlight it, otherwise I would do that. Can I zoom in a little bit? Yeah, I can zoom in a little bit if I do the plus thing. Look at that. What the hell? What the heck is this? Ghislaine Maxwell's introducing a bunch of her attractive friends to Trump? And we know that Anushka isn't just like a friend. Anushka is a victim of sex trafficking, a sex slave for Epstein and Maxwell. And here she is being hooked up with Trump, set up with Trump. All right, let's continue reading. And none of his would-be rivals, owned a vast mansion in Florida like Donald does. Mar-a-Lago, where I have dined with him and his outgoing wife, Marla. That doesn't mean like, when I first read that, I thought that meant like, she's so outgoing, she's so friendly, whatever, gregarious, whatever. No. He's like, he's got women on, like, going through a revolving door, It's like his outgoing wife, Marla. Because he just got divorced. outgoing wife Mar is enough to make any young girl go weak at the knees. Mar-a-Lago, every young girl's dream. After their meeting, Trump flew Madam Maxwell. Interesting phraseology. Is that, what's the word? Is that, is Madam Maxwell, is that just alliteration, or is that like, is he trying to say something here? You know? And the model flew south to the Sunshine State, Florida, where they all three enjoyed a happy weekend together. When they returned to, so Florida's where Mar-a-Lago is. When they returned to New York, Anushka was installed in one of Donald's many apartments. Interesting. Ms. DiGiorgio likes older men. She went out once or twice with Joanna Lumley's ex-husband, Jeremy Lloyd, who's 45 years her senior. If you look at DiGiorgio's dating history, when she was like young model, when she was being trafficked by Epstein, and after, she dated a lot of powerful men who were like 30 plus years older than her. Now, this is interesting, eh? This is all kind of all we've got here. Anushka has never really spoken about this. She's spoken a lot about Epstein, but she's never spoken about Trump. But just recently, the article of the author, Luke, I had the same thought. Let me just highlight your comment here. Is the author of the article dead? Yes, he died super recently. Like, I think we just passed the anniversary of his death. The 1-year anniversary. Chris Hutchins. He died 27th of June, 2024, aged 83. Why did nobody ask him what he meant by this? Why did nobody ask him what he was talking about? But yes, unfortunately, he is passed away. But you know who isn't passed away? Anushka DiGiorgio. She is, thankfully, still alive. So Anushka has never spoken about this. She's never talked about this. She's never confirmed what was going on here. But Vicky Ward, who's another Epstein journalist, just recently, this is fresh. This is fresh, people. This is new stuff. Vicky Ward reached out to Anushka. Let me just Control F. Oh, no, get out of here. Control F for Anushka. Here we go. So this is just from like the other day. When was this? June 6th. This morning, I reached out to another woman both Trump and Epstein knew, Anushka DiGiorgio, a British blonde former model who's spoken publicly about her horrendous experiences with Epstein, to whom she was introduced as a teenager by Ghislaine Maxwell. But when Anushka was 20 years old, Maxwell also introduced her to Trump. The three of them reportedly spent a whirlwind weekend in Palm Beach, during which time I remember being told by my British New York friends that Anushka was offered a large ring by Trump. He was single at the time. That was never confirmed, but there were reports that Trump housed her when they returned to New York. Okay, I'd never heard this. So this is just fucking Vicky Ward's like personal gossip. Who knows how, if that's true or not. He gave her a ring. Weird. But, and it's an interesting but, the only public comments. So this is a little bit, I actually have read the entire article that this is from. I don't know if Vicky Ward has. This is something that I had to find on eBay and get to read personally. The London Times quoted her saying, "We went to dinner a few times. We're friends now." So I'm talking about Trump. Trump and I went to dinner a few times. We're friends now. I attended his wedding. He's adorable. He's been so kind to me. Well, this interview was in, I think, 2002. And Anushka is still trying to get her career off the ground. It's not even clear if she was still being trafficked at the time that this question was asked. It's not like she's, it's not like she's really in a position to, in this interview, to be like, oh yeah, no, I was sexually trafficked to Trump. It's really messed up. She was still trying to have a career. She was trying to be a model, musician, actress. Of course, she's not going to like sell out Trump. So this quote gets thrown around a lot, and it's not exactly as exonerating as people might want to think. But I find this really interesting. This part. Doobly-doo-doo. Wait, where'd it go? Yeah. This morning, I reached out to DeGiorgio and asked if she wanted to elaborate further, given Musk's assertions. DeGiorgio now runs the Kintsugi Foundation, a transitional residential facility in Los Angeles. She was friendly, but said she didn't want to talk about Trump at this time. Zoom in on those words. She didn't want to talk about Trump at this time. Okay, Anushka. I mean, like, yeah. What do you think about that? What do we think? To me, at this time says a lot, but I don't want to jump to conclusions here. Here's something else that people might not know about Anushka DeGiorgio. She's not only she's a multi hyphenate, multi-talented person.
Understand the evolution better.
All right. She's also got a podcast. She's got a podcast called, let me go to her page. Anushka DeGiorgio. Okay, that's not the name of the podcast. This is her YouTube channel. The podcast is called The Empowered Exchange, your go-to podcast for transformative conversations and inspiring personal journeys. Now, this I don't get. This is confusing to me. Anushka DeGiorgio is a famous woman. She's a outspoken accuser of Jeffrey Epstein. She's like a big deal. And this is her YouTube channel. She's been doing this podcast for the last little while. It's kind of new. It's like a few months old, I think. Look at her subscriber count. 262 subscribers. Look at these view counts. 35 views, 299 views, 59 views, 126 views. What's going on here? And if you look at her, the other places that she plays these podcasts, they're tiny. And I saw her, she was on Dr. Drew's podcast, or not podcast, but like, I guess podcast, but like his radio show. I've seen her promoting this. And right now, Epstein stuff is so huge. Epstein Trump stuff in particular. And what is happening? And she's interviewing like people like in this one that I'm going to show you. She's interviewing Brad Edwards and Brittany Henderson, who are part of the law firm Henderson Edwards, or Edwards Henderson, that defended the victims of Epstein, like Virginia Giuffre and Anushka. What? Why? Huh? 299 views, and I am at least like 3 of them. Like, I don't get it. Frankly, this is confusing. I also find Anushka like a charming interviewer, like a good podcast host. She's had a lot of time, like practice in the public eye, whatever. Like she spent years trying to be a model, actress, whatever, singer. She's done tons of interviews in magazines and stuff. What's going on? What is happening here? I genuinely don't get it. But anyway, sorry, I'm getting a little bit distracted here, but I wanted to show you guys this clip. Here's the interview here. And this is with Brad Edwards over here on the right, who is, I think, a great dude, in my opinion. He's got one of the best books about Epstein, Relentless Pursuit. He's been, from what I've seen anyway, like a tireless advocate for the victims of Epstein. He's a cool guy. He is also like kind of a bro. Like he's like a sports guy. Like he was a tennis player in college, and he's got like this kind of like tan. He looks like he kind of has like a cold sore on his lip, and he showed up to the interview. He's wearing skinny jeans. Let's go to another angle. He's wearing skinny jeans and like a polo shirt. This is his partner in law and in life, his wife. She is so much more dressed up than him. I don't know. Maybe he thought it was a podcast and he was like, "Oh, a podcast. I'm not gonna dress up for this." But yeah, I just wanted to point that out. That has nothing to do with what we're gonna get into. But okay, 4131. Okay.
Ability to widely disseminate misinformation has become a problem.
I mean, to be clear, there are a couple of men who have not been.
So sorry, I paused it right before the part that I was actually wanting to show you. But to give you context here, Brad Edwards is saying there's a lot of misinformation about the case, which is kind of like, I agree with that too. And this is why I want to make these series of streams, is going over common misinformation and correcting them and getting into them a little bit. But he goes, he says there's a lot of misinformation and accusations, and he's talking about like the people who have, the lists that people put out and, the Elon Musk thing and stuff and Roger Stone and stuff like that. People acting like these people are proven guilty, whatever, but they were just photographed with Epstein or even less than that. But anyway, so that's what he's saying.
Been held accountable who should have been.
But I want you guys to hear what how Anushka replies.
That trauma.
Yeah, I mean, the way the media is now and the ability to widely disseminate misinformation has become a problem.
I mean, to be clear, there are a couple of men who have not been held accountable who should have been.
Yep.
And they may never be. That being said, that's got nothing to do with a list or not a list. That
is so interesting to me, the way she says that. And I know I don't know, I'm playing like, all those guys that came after Bernie Sanders, the body language experts, like, well, you can tell from the way he's crossing his legs that he actually despises women or whatever. I want to be like that, but did you see the way she said that? Like, he's like, there's no list, there's no whatever. And she's like, well, there are a lot of men who have not been held accountable. And she says it like, let's just watch it again. Let's just watch it again. The way she responds to him talking about the list.
Has become a problem.
I mean, to be clear, there are a couple of men who have not been held accountable who should have been.
Yep.
And they may never be. That being said, that's got nothing to do with a list or not a list.
Okay, interesting.
She's too old for me.
Okay, this is the part. This is the part I wanted to show.
Some of the women had been with him since they were 17, 18, 19.
So some of the women had been with Epstein since they were 17, like Anushka.
Where some of the women had been with him since they were 17, 18, 19, and now they're 24 years old, totally reliant and dependent on him. And he goes,
when the article we're looking at, Anushka's 20.
She's too old for me. So he would start sending that person to his friends. But it wasn't for, he didn't make money off of this. This just wasn't how the organization worked.
Yeah.
They act as if, I think the world acts like he was an international pimp for the stars. That's just not the case.
Well, and I guess there's, with AI.
Now, that is still trafficking. That is still trafficking. Right? Like one aspect that I'm a little bit, that's a little bit sort of, I guess, what's the word? Unfortunate about the Epstein case is everyone is very caught up in the underage aspect of it. And obviously that is a huge problem. Like, I'm not saying that that's fine or anything, but you can still be trafficked if you're above the age of 18. If you're 20 years old and you're completely financially, dependent on this man who has been abusing you since you were 17, you are still a victim of trafficking and you can still be trafficked to other people. Of course, right? Trafficking isn't about age. So when we're looking at this story, Trump's pretty all right. Anushka's 20 years old. What Brad Edwards just described there it fits exactly with what is happening, with what I shouldn't say is happening, but with what I am assuming is happening with this story. Anushka, victim of Epstein's from when she was 17, is now 20, a little bit too old for Epstein, and now she is being trafficked to his friends. And if we want to actually be technical here, talk about the definition of trafficking, I got the, what's it called? The Man Code, I think it's called, or the White Slave Act. It's a U.S. law. Whoever knowingly transports any individual in interstate or foreign commerce or in any territory or possession of the United States with intent that such individual engage in prostitution or in any sexual activity for which any person can be charged with a criminal offense or attempts to do so shall be fined under this title. Excuse me. So in other words, if you transport someone across state lines for the purposes of engaging in prostitution or any other illegal sex act, shoot, where'd it go? Here it is. And again, after their meeting, Trump flew Madam Maxwell and the model from Manhattan south to the Sunshine State, where all three enjoyed a happy weekend together. They then returned to New York, where Trump installed Anushka in one of his many apartments. That is possibly trafficking. Now, Anushka has politely stated that she doesn't want to talk about Trump right now. But I'm going to read between the lines here. I'm going to say Donald Trump. What's on Donald Trump's job? Reality TV star, Orange Man. So that's my list. I think that's my list. I very, very possible I've missed some people on here, but from what I know, this is my list of people who these girls were trafficked to. This is my list of people who, short list, people who, I don't know, technically didn't get girls trafficked to them, but assisted in the trafficking of girls and also abused children themselves. So yeah, here's my list, guys. Read it and weep. And again, I must point out to all of the very litigious people I've just made accused of the worst crime, this is only my opinion, and you can't sue me. I hope that should cover me. But yeah, guys. Okay. I feel like that's it. I feel like that's kind of all I wanted to say. But let me I don't know. Let's hang out for a bit, and I'll I don't know, just kind of chill with you guys, and we can talk. Oh, Wexner. What am I talking about? How did I forget about Wexner? So this was from a 2016 interview, again, from our girl, Virginia Dupre. How many times did you have sex with Les Wexner? Multiple. What's the approximate range of number? More than 3? More than 3? More than 5? Possibly more than 10? No. Yeah. I think we got another guy. I think we got another guy for the list. I'm going to put him up here with the other ones that she had accused of. God, I'm so embarrassed. I called Les Wexner Les Wexman in one of my videos. Really, really dumb mistake. Victoria's Secret owner. And I might even maybe Les Wexner belongs in the staff member thing, as he was definitely very helpful towards Epstein. His one confirmed client of his supposed billionaire-only financial planning company. Secret L Brands CEO? Is that what he was? CEO or owner? What was he? Oh, accusation, no. Billionaire businessman, founder. Oh, founder. Bath and Body Works. L Brands, Limited Brands. Oh, wait. So is that what it's called now? Bath and Body Works, Inc.? Oh, okay. All right. So I guess it's just of L Brands. Anyway, whatever. Founder, I'll say. Honestly, this was the least important thing. I don't know why I'm spending so much time on it. Founder. All right. I'm not a business guy. I don't really know. I don't know what the difference is between these things, but billionaire. So we've got who do we have here? We've got heads of state, Israeli prime minister, American prime ministers. We've got lawyers, celebrity lawyers, academics. And we've got the most powerful people on earth, billionaires, the corporate rich, the power elite, the global power elite. Yeah. Really nuts. Really, really quite something.